Hello and welcome to Playing Favorites. I'm Paul.
I'm Justin.
Hello, welcome back, Justin. We're here to do another 90s movie.
No, you're in a very different place too.
I am. I'm not at my home studio. I'm on the road for work, so I'm coming at you from a hotel in Lake George.
This movie made you want to leave your house to avoid
Yeah,
its terribleness.
I broke out into a run as soon as as soon as the movie was over.
um,
Oh boy. But yes, today we are talking about 1997's Spawn, based on the comic created by Todd McFarlane, who was a very, big contributor to this film. He was an executive producer. He was like kind of like a creative consultant as well.
mhm.
So it's got that going for it.
Yeah, and we'll get to it. But what do we usually do here, Paul? What do
Well,
people
Justin, normally, what's normal these days?
lately?
We this is a podcast where we talk about our favorite things. In this case, our favorite thing for the last few episodes has been movies from the 90s, and that's what we've been kind of going through. But you can check out our YouTube channel as well as our podcast, just anywhere you get your podcasts from. We've done everything from favorite movie, favorite of favorite fighting games to favorite action movies to favorite heroes and favorite villains. Done a bunch of stuff. So if people haven't checked those things out yet, you definitely should. A lot of good content in our backlog, in our back catalog. And I'm just very jazzed today to be talking about one of our personal favorite things, I think you and I, and that is CGI of the 90s. Computer graphics,
You
Justin. We
mentioned
love that.
you mentioned our theme was '90s movies. We're not going for like the best '90s movies here with this theme though. We're not going back and watching Jurassic Park or you know.
Yeah, Dances with Wolves or something. No, we're doing 90s movies that maybe time has forgotten, but we remember them. They made some kind of impact on us when we were younger. We remember them distinctly, and we're kind of revisiting them, kind of going down our
we remember them.
childhood.
We remember them nostalgically, as I have learned, because most of the movies we've done so far, I think I have more memory of them than you did, or
Yep,
you have never seen, and I
correct.
and oh my god. Anyways,
This one I saw in theaters, Justin. I saw this one in theaters with my brother within the first week of it coming out. Like we saw it maybe that Saturday after it came out. We were jazzed about it. We were both Spawn fans. I was a
mhm.
big fan of the comics. I had a couple Spawn action figures. I loved it. I love the story. I love the idea of Spawn. It was really cool to see like, oh, they're making a movie about him, and look at all the graphics. You get to see his cape and
Computer
everything.
graphics,
It's gonna be
computer
so
graphics.
cool. Graphics. Gotta love the graphics. So we're gonna run down this movie. We'll give like a brief synopsis of what the movie is supposed to be about, at least what it thinks it's about, and then we'll talk about what's really going on as we watch these
But
things.
before we do,
Old,
let's
yes.
spend 5 hours with our bleeding our eyes out with the intro of credits. Like just
Oh my gosh, that is one thing I definitely don't miss from movies is doing all the credits up front with terrible CGI effects,
oh
and
my god, I'm
I
like
fast forwarded. I just started
oh
fast
no,
forward. I'm like all
I
the
tried
scenes.
to absorb all horribleness. Like I wanted to get the true experience.
I did it very gently, just kind of like scrubbing a little bit, so I would check to see if I missed anything, and I'm like, nope, still the same Marilyn Manson song playing, still the same awful graphics. Just keep going. Then, yeah, but this movie, it's not like it was a small production or anything, and it wasn't like it was all a bunch of nobodies. No, this was a movie with some good actors in it for the most part. I mean, our titular character Al Simmons, who is Spawn, played by Michael J. White. For those of you who are not familiar with Michael J. White, he also played Gamble in The Dark Knight. He was the
That's
crime
right.
boss that Joker kills he kills one of his henchmen with the pencil, like ta-da, he makes it disappear.
Yep.
He's the one who puts the bounty on the Joker's head. Um, but he's been in other stuff too. He's a great actor,
He's
and
also Jax, I think, in that YouTube Mortal Kombat
you're right. He
series.
was. He was like he could have been like the remake Jax, but Yes, he did play Jax. He was a good Jax. But we also have, as Al Simmons' boss, Jason Nguyen, played by Martin Sheen. Great Martin Sheen production here with his dyed beard and hair and everything. It looks great. And we're supposed to believe he's like the leader of some like Green Forces
He's with
recon
the CIA.
something.
That's what the synopsis, like. If you look at the cast and
CIA
credits, it's
operative.
like
Yeah,
some division of the CIA, A6
sure.
or something. I don't know.
That's the name. Yes, not A26, the group of movie makers, but A6. Yes,
Like
not to be confused.
I now you seem to know probably Spawn more than I do. So like we'll get into this the plot. Like they do bring characters from the comics into this. I mean, it seems like they're
Yeah.
following at least set pieces and places and potentially the origin correctly. Is that what I'm reading? Sort of.
I mean, you can say that like everything before the title, like how there's kind of like an intro, and then we have like Spawn, the actual title card.
That is like floating up. That's floating like
Mhm.
like this.
That's
Like,
terrible font. Who decides these fonts, really? I mean, and what's funny is that the Spawn comics had really cool fonts. Like I always loved like there's like a stylized lettering for the titles for it, which is surprising. But everything that comes before that, the like intro scene, is all about everything. Is like the first comic book, all in like 2.5 minutes.
Mhm.
Al Simmons is this CIA operative, right? And he gets sent on this mission where he destroys a plane. Really cool. I actually like this scene in the beginning. I feel like we're just going to get into this right away,
Yeah,
Justin.
it's
So
cool. Yeah,
might as well.
it's fine.
He like breaks into an airline control tower, like an airport control tower, and from there he sets up like a rocket launcher, and with a really cool kind of like headpiece that
Yeah,
looks very distinctly
that
like the
actually got
Spawn
me.
mask,
That
green eyes.
I have to say, I'm gonna chime in really quick because like that
Go
whole
for
sequence, like that you're diving, like him like doing his assassination mission. That first sequence, I'm like, yeah, I was right. This is a good movie. I remember it. That's all I got was just that.
Yep. You got 2.5 minutes in before it broke your heart, but yep. But so we don't get to see the deal that he strikes with Malboja um, right away, right? I
Well,
don't
this is
think
way
so.
later.
Like,
That
it's
doesn't
just
happen.
yeah,
So
wait, that
after he
happens.
does his
But it
mission,
shows you going. It shows him going down to hell, but you don't see what happens next. He just like wakes up.
you're just kind of skipping ahead though. So like he does this assassination mission.
Yes.
He completes
So he
it,
does this. Yep.
and then
Blows up the plane.
you're introduced to his fiance Theresa, or Wanda. Sorry, that's played by Theresa. That's the
Wanda.
actress' name.
Wanda. Yep.
Wanda.
And his best friend Terry.
Yeah, Terry is like, I don't know. He does not fit the role that he has been casted for. He just does not
Oh,
seem to fit it at all. Like,
you know, DB Sweeney is the actor's name. He's been in a lot of stuff. You probably recognized him.
mhm.
Like you're like, I can't place my finger. He's been in stuff, and he's a voice actor as well. But yeah, he just seems so out of place because he seems like this kind of like just uber nice guy, and he doesn't fit in with this like
like
CI operated like black ops kind of
well,
missions.
because they give him like the dad goatee before he's even a dad. He's not even a real
Hey,
dad. Like it's like
so this is how he transitions into that role of being a dad later on. But that goatee was very stylish at the time, Justin, in
it's
1997. You don't
very
remember.
true, very true. But no, like you got him
But
like going home and saying talking to Wanda. They're about to
yep,
go to the office, and then like you learn about like the mission that he went on, like killed a bunch of civilians. You meet
absolutely
Spaz too, Spaz, but
unaware. That is, yep, the
Spaz is
dog.
great. Spaz is probably one of the better parts of the film.
What kind of dog is that? Do you know
I
what
think it's
kind of dog
Doodle.
that is?
A doodle, maybe. I don't know.
Uh, I beg your pardon.
A
Uh,
doodle, a
a doodle.
golden doodle.
Uh, it's a small dog. I thought it was like a terrier or something.
Yeah, a terrier. That's probably a terrier. That makes
And
sense.
I think, yeah, so we get introduced to Spaz. But you're right. Terry does tell him in the car. He's like, and Terry seems to be like his partner, but then later on he gets like promoted. But anyways, Terry is tells him, he's like, "Did you know like those were civilians?" He's like, "I didn't know that you were doing things like that," and that causes Al Simmons to kind of question his he's a crisis of conscience, even though it's like 30 seconds long. It's literally the car ride from his house to the office, and we don't even
Yeah, and
get
then when
like any of that
they're
entire monologue.
they're going through this whole scanning section, right? When they get to like the little like security booth, it's like scanning
Mhm.
their car and stuff. And he's got his window down, like, and says really loudly, "I'm gonna keep my eye on Nguyen." And then he rolls up his window. I'm like, okay.
And that's really like when he says like, "I'm going to keep my eye on when they go in," and Simmons, that's the first thing he says is, "I quit." He's like, "I heard." He's like, "What are you doing? Those were civilians. This is not what I signed up for. I quit." And he's like, "All right." And Jason Wynn, Martin Sheen, is like, "Oh, okay, all right, all right. But I just got one more mission for you to do." Meanwhile, we know that Jason Wynn's already been in contact with the clown, right? That's the very first scene, I think, of this movie, is the clown
I think it's
telling
after
him,
the
like, "Oh, but
assassination.
we want." Is it okay? Right after the assassination, it's him, and he's darkened, so you can't see what it is talking to him, but it's clearly clown, and telling Jason Wynn, Martin Sheen, to like, we're gonna keep our eye on Al Simmons, like we want him in some way, like like we want that perfect soldier type of guy, and we don't know what for yet. We can guess, who know a little bit about Spawn, but to the average viewer, it's like, okay, so
What do you want with it?
wants him for something. Then Jason Wynn says, like, all right, just go on this one last mission, and that'll be fine. What you're going to do is neutralize. They're going to North Korea to neutralize some like bio
Chemical plant.
agent,
Yeah.
chemical, yeah, for that could be used for chemical warfare, like some kind of thing that would, you know, be very terrible if it was released. And when he gets there, Al Simmons like infiltrates and gets in, and he notices that there's bombs like planted on all the like the canisters, the tanks. I guess they look like milk tanks to me. I'm pretty sure this was filmed
I
on a dairy farm.
I mean, all the '90s films, I think, they use the same tanks. I mean, it looks like the same tanks you find in any
Yes,
Bond movie. You know, it's
it
like,
like a back lot at Universal Studios is like, here is chemical, like biological warfare building. But yeah, and he's like, what the hell? He's like, these, and then out comes Jason Wynn. He's there in his mission outfit too. He's ready to roll.
he's like he was just like living there. It's like, hey, welcome to my house.
Yeah. He just like walks around the corner. He's like, Simmons. He's like, what's going on? And then Jessica Priest shows up too, who is his top
Shoot,
assassin, I suppose.
he's like
But
shoots him in the arm. I'm like,
yeah, because yeah, very weirdly, Elson raises his submachine gun like a pistol to point it at Jason Wynn. Like, I can't let you do this. If you blow it up, it's gonna, you know, kill everybody in 15 miles around, or it's gonna infect everybody for how much. And he's like, I can't let you do that. Then yeah, he orders Jessica Priest, as you say, shoot him in the arm. And then she comes over and she uses a goop gun on him. Can you were you also a little startled by the
yeah.
goop gun?
Well, and the funny thing is, okay, so I want to just bring
It
this.
sounds like this?
I want to bring this up really quick. So 1 second, like, so one thing we didn't state is that we're watching the director's cut of this and the R-rated version of this film. So like you watched the theatrical cut, I guess, in theaters. I've only really remember the R-rated cut because that's what I had. I had the DVD version, so
Okay.
this didn't like look different to me. But I knew all the deleted scenes because I had listened to the commentary. So I was like,
Oh, you got a leg up on me here because I just remember seeing it in theaters and then
yeah,
this. So
yeah. So like me, I'm watching this. I'm like, wait, am I watching the director's cut or am I watching the? I'm like, no, I'm watching the. So I think they only released the director's cut to video, and I
makes
don't.
sense.
And then that's the only ones they have for streaming. Because I noticed when it turned it on, I noticed the R on the top of the screen when the movie started. I'm like, well, this isn't supposed to be R. This is supposed to be
PG-13.
yeah. Like so, And reason I'm bringing this up now is because like a lot of these shots we're talking about, like, you know, even the fight at the, you know, the lot of the action and violence of this is all cut out of the film. It's like butchered to no end. Where one of the things is the goop gun. They don't show it.
Well, it doesn't make any.
They just show. I think they just show like the spraying of things on them, but not the shot of the goop coming out of the gun. They cut that out
for some reason. I don't know. They made Jessica Priest, who is a made up character, because in the comics it's the character Chapel, who is very much like Al Simmons. He's also African American. He's also like a CIA operative. They were not necessarily like friends. They were more like rivals. And Chapel was, you know, very glad to eliminate Al Simmons. That's why it was kind of like memorable, was because it wasn't necessarily his friend, but somebody he'd like worked with.
She wasn't a bitch the second you met him.
Yes, exactly. Which you if you knew like there was something wrong with him, you know, you knew he wasn't like a good guy by any means, but you didn't expect him to betray him. And it goes a completely different way. Chapel just shoots him in the back, like a, you know, betrayal style, like shooting him in the back. That's what kills him. In this, they decide it is important to accentuate the burning part. So Jessica Priest has a machine gun, like looks like an M16, but instead of like, you know how some of them have like a little grenade launcher, this one has a goop launcher, and it just literally like ectoplasm, like just sprays him with green goop, and then
some sort of flammable liquid.
Yes. And then what happens, Justin? What does Jason Nguyen do?
He salutes him and throws his cigarette on him.
And that's really the last we see, where we see him go, Wanda, like this. And then we see the stunt guy. You know, they had Michael J. White with the fire on his arms, on both arms. You know, I thought that was cool. I was like, nice. It was like, okay. Using the practical effects, like I tip my hat to any actor that'll willingly set their arms on fire. But then it turns into the stunt actor who's completely on fire with a terribly superimposed Al Simmons face on him, going,
I didn't notice that. I didn't notice that at all.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You did not notice that?
I didn't notice the superimposed face thing. I'm sorry.
After he got Nickelodeon slimed, he was burned to death, and
I noticed the burning of death. I just didn't notice the bad effects of. I guess I don't know. I guess it was too fine. So again, that burning sequence, again, part of the rated R version. You didn't get that experience in the regular, which makes me wonder, like, what happens in the theatrical cut. Nothing happens.
I honestly want to know. Like, I am very curious now. Not that I want to watch this movie all over again, but I just want to know.
I gave you references. I gave you a link that shows all the differences.
I haven't looked at them yet.
And it's such a long list of things, because it's very detailed. It's like they cut out this part. It's like 3 seconds of this was extended, and this dialogue piece was added, and it's like, but yeah.
Gosh, one thing I'm very glad to have seen, though, before we go on, I just need to mention this, because I know we go back to Jason Nguyen's office, but I really like when Al Simmons first goes in there and you see the photos on his wall. One of the photos he has is like of a nuclear blast. I don't know if you noticed that. And it was like, why? Like, doesn't any, like, this would be a red flag for anybody who's like been in his office or seen his decorations. Like, why do you have an atomic explosion like on your wall? I also like it that he has a pet tarantula and scorpion. Scorpions that fight each other.
That's right. The scorpions are fighting, and then she's playing with the tarantula priest.
I wonder if these people are bad, Justin. You know, I think we need to put like scary insects in front of them so people will know, and arachnids. But yeah, his terrible superimposed face on the stunt double burning. But anyways, yes, cue the Marilyn Manson music. Yeah.
The music additions in this film, like, I don't want to like go beat for beat the storyline, but pretty much like after he dies, he comes back we find out eventually 5 years later, which doesn't feel like 5 days later. It feels like the next day. Like I know there's a kid there, but like it feels like all of a sudden, because the reason I bring that up, but really quick, I go back to his partner who looks like he hasn't changed his goatee or aged or nothing has happened. It's like and they're talking about the things that happened at this biochemical plant, like as it just happened like yesterday.
Yep. That is a problem. The fact that none of the characters look even like remarkably different. I mean, they could have at least had like Terry Fitzgerald have like a beard and then shave it down to a goatee or something.
I was hoping he should
have
been shaven initially, because he's like, he's a bachelor. He's not with Wanda yet, and like he gets a goatee because he's a dad now. I that would fit better to me. Like Wanda, I think Wanda grows hair because you really don't get a lot of her shots before you get like flashbacks.
She does very short hair in the beginning, and then she has super long hair by the after the 5-year jump. One of the things that always bugged me too is how he's like coming to. He's like, "Where am I?" Wait, no, I'm sorry. He never asks, "Where am I?" He's like, "Wanda, I gotta find Wanda," and like, he comes into contact with some people who we'll talk about. But I was like, doesn't he wonder how he got back to the city from North Korea? Like, at no point he's just like, why am I back here? Like, if he feels like it was just a minute ago, like, what happened?
I think he's just completely out of sorts.
Would first question be, well, yes, I would assume so, but the last thing you remember was being in North Korea. I feel like there needs to be,
he doesn't remember it, though. They have to jog his memory, remember? I don't think he remembers that mission.
Okay, you can defend the movie's logic all you like, Justin. I know this is what you do. This is what I do. But okay.
Wait, hold on, slow down for 1 second. I want to chime in on one thing. When does what's his name kind of become part of this thing? Doesn't he start narrating at one point? Cagliostro or the what's his name?
What's his name? Cagliostro. Yeah, and he does. He narrates the movie and narrates it pretty poorly. Just like it's just exposition. Just now, I will tell you what's happening.
Which I think there was a. I don't know when this happens, but like there's like this whole section. I think it's between the 5 years have happened. And there's a section where there's just like him narrating about like it's like the battle of hell of good and evil will be happening soon, and he will have to make a choice. And hold on. And then there's just shots of just like the city, and then like the roads become a cross, and then like there's a transition where the cross lights up on the church, and it transitions to like. I'm like say it again. I think your hotel internet is breaking you up. So just say it again.
Oh, am I? I said I really enjoyed that sweet cross transition with the lightning bolt. I wrote that down too.
Oh my god, it was like so cheesy. Like, and I feel like throughout this movie, I feel like we just pick apart this movie jumping around. I don't even care. But like, there were so many different kinds of transitions in this film. Like, I feel like they were like, well, we can't we can't reuse them. Let's just make a new one every time. Let's just.
They use the flames transition and then like star wipe. Like
there was one
like
later.
Somebody just got like editing gear and was trying it for the first time.
But there was one. I'm like, it was so different than the rest of them, and I'm like, why didn't they use this more? Because I mean, it's like. It was kind of neat. I mean, it was cheesy, but like I'm like okay with it. It was like but they put it at the worst place ever. Like it didn't make any sense. It's way later in the film where Spawn's about to confront Nguyen again when he's in the party, and they're like going in an elevator. Him and Terry, Jason and Terry are going on an elevator, and all of a sudden there's a transition of his cape. Like he has like an animated cape that just cuts the screen.
Yes. Yeah, it's like the cape wipe. Yes. Oh my gosh, dude!
It never happens again. It never happens again.
And you are right that there are so many times in this when they have the they just like they never reuse the traditions, and I'm like, why don't you just fade to black, or Cut. Just cut. You know, sometimes a cut is fine.
But we're making a comic book movie. We have to have cool transitions and changing of pages.
Now, okay. Yeah, I don't want to get bogged down in the story, 'cause the story is kind of boring, to tell you the truth. Like, what we need to know though is Cagliostro is trying to not necessarily recruit Al Simmons, but he's trying to give him the choice. Like, either you can fight for hell or you can fight against hell. He does, or no, I'm sorry, the clown, played by John Leguizamo, probably one of the better parts of the movie. Unfortunately, he tells him, like, he jogs his memory, right? He's like, "Oh, you don't remember who you are. Let me just
Takes
remind
him
you."
forever
And he puts him in a headlock.
Yes, but it's like he puts him through like Christmas Carol type stuff. It's like, let me show you this. Let me show you this. Let me
Yes,
show you this.
he's the ghost of Christmas past. He takes him. Yep, he takes him, and then we get the scene from hell, where he gets pulled down, and we get to see good old Malboja, the
Oh my
devil,
god.
for the first time. And he is. This is what I wrote about hell, what it looks like. So, it is the actual, like, looking at it. It reminds me of the looking at Malboja is like looking at a textured wall in GoldenEye. You know, like, is it like if you get
Oh,
too close
GoldenEye
to
probably
like the cave
looks
wall?
bad. So wait, so we were talking about the horrible special effects of Bell. It looks like. Go ahead, finish your statement. I want to add to this.
It's like a Nintendo 64 cutscene. All right, that's the level of graphics Malboja has. In the comics, he's not that much different. You know, that's kind of what he looks like in the comics. But in the comics, it works because the scale is there. You know, they don't look drastically different. It's all, artistic rendering. And in this, it just looks so terrible. All the flame effects, and it's like they could not get enough of flames falling in front of the camera, just like going in front of the camera. Almost like they were like, let me just block the bad stuff. You don't have to see it. We're just gonna put flames. All the rocks that they stand on just like appear out of nowhere all of a sudden. It just reminded me of like playing Gauntlet or something on Nintendo 64. You know?
I mean, to be, I think in the art direction's better than in video games, but like I would say, like, you think of 3D graphics at the time, like in any kind of media, like a Reboot looked better than this. Like,
Yes, it did.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
applied textures better.
yeah, it was more blocky, but like I don't even know what they were going for. Like, they must have, like, I mean, to be fair, when I watched this film, I didn't think it looked as horrifically bad as I sit here and look at it now. It was still pretty
Oh,
bad. It was still pretty bad. And I do remember
yep.
making comments like, "Oh man, that is not really that great looking." But you know what? I was like, whatever. I hadn't seen a better example of hell in anything else, so I was like, I didn't really know about Brozier that much. I didn't really know any of that stuff. You don't really, I mean, there's parts later in the movie that's annoying, but yeah, like it didn't really bug me as much as watching it this time. But then now I look at the movies that came out that year. This is what I want to add. We had Fifth Element come out that year.
Word.
Like we had even like the movie we had Batman and Robin come out that year. But like we had Starship Troopers come out that year. We just reviewed a movie called Event Horizon that came out that year.
Gosh. Yep, same year.
And I mean, you had movies like Anaconda that had some cheesy effect, but still, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand.
They did a better job of like trying to hide the snake in Anaconda.
We should watch that again. I haven't seen that forever.
John
But...
Anaconda? Sure. I'd love to watch a John Anaconda movie.
Alien Resurrection came out that year. Like, I mean,
so it wasn't. It was. I think it was probably just a money issue. Like, I don't think that this was a big budget movie in the sense of like devoting a lot of money and talent to the CGI. And I kind of feel bad because I'm sure the people that were working on it were trying their best, with what they had to make this work. But when you're trying to depict the hell of the Spawn universe and Malboja, like I feel like you didn't even need to do that for this. You could have. This is what I wrote. I was really like, if you wanted to do Malboja, like have it all in flames, have him be like a smoky figure that you're kind of like teasing, like how they teased Galactus and all in every like Fantastic Four movie. Like they never show him
Yeah.
per se, you know, you're like it's kind of there, but they can make a menacing fire demon type thing without having to show it. But this was like, we're going to show you, and it's not going to be good. It's just going to be what it is.
Yeah, and
And,
based on your comment, I looked this up just to have a sort of like comparison. Because I love Fifth Element. I think the effects in that are pretty decent for the time.
yeah, a lot of them practical though.
This was half the cost of that budget. So that was 90 million. This is 40 million. You know, so I mean, yeah, it's. I mean, I can see why. I mean, you got to think of the time this came out. I mean, putting like a, a very edgy, dark superhero
movie
on screen. I can't imagine they wanted to really front the bill too much on that. I mean, it seemed like it did okay, like money, like financially. It wasn't a flop like some of the other ones we've watched.
Yeah. Did they? I don't know if you have that up, but did they make their money back? Because I imagine that they did. I bet they made money on this.
They didn't have a great. They didn't have a great, like, they weren't like number one. Like Air Force One, I think, beat it its first week. But
pipeline.
Yeah, like they domestically it wasn't great. Like domestically, it says they grossed 54 million in the United States, but worldwide it was almost 90. So I mean, it's not like they lost it, but I guess domestically it wasn't a success if you think about it, because budgets of films are a weird number. Like they say it's 40 million for the budget of making the film, but that doesn't cover like all like the other stuff that comes with making a film
and all that. Yeah.
Like marketing, figures, packaging, making DVDs, all that stuff. Like, so it probably wasn't successful enough for them to kind of do another one.
I think, like you're saying, like they didn't have the money, and I wish that instead of trying to, I feel like they should have made the cuts then to some of the more like the hell scenes. They could make that more menacing. Hell could be a scary place if you do it right, and I feel like hell was anything but scary or even cool because it was just so like you're just looking at so much gobbledygook on the screen,
but
that's barely formed and pixelated that it's hard to even look at it.
Don't even
like,
do hell. Like they go at least, or do it like for very minimal amounts of time. Like they go back there way too much. They do way too much in hell.
Yes.
And because honestly, I want
like
huh? Say it again. I'm sorry.
They're trying. I'm sorry. They're trying to. I feel like you're right. Like, first of all, there is no money in comic book movies at this time. Yeah, Spawn has a following, so you have some, some general interest in him. But yeah, if you're gonna do all the hell scenes like from the first like run of the comics, like the first 10, 15 issues, which hell does play a significant factor in. You can't have the guys in Spawn suits partying down.
I love that. My favorite part. It's so funny looking.
Yes. I'm pretty sure one was doing the Cabbage Patch. Like it's just like, what the hell is going on? So these guys are just always at the ready to party.
They look like they're out of Mortal Kombat, like their first one. That's what they kind of look. But like
background characters, right? Like
I want to give some credit to the special effects a little bit here, because I feel like the costume of Spawn actually looks pretty good, decently good. I will
agree.
I think it looks,
the mask.
It holds up pretty well. Like you got to think this is like 7 years before Spider-Man, so it's like you got him crawling on walls and swinging around with his chains, and the cape looks pretty cool. I mean, it looks a little dated, but like it holds up, I think, pretty well. Most of the Spawn effects.
Sure, it's hard to do Spawn's cape because it is like ridiculously big, and like kind of in tatters, and it's got a mind of its own. But I will also with you commend the special effects, like the scene when he's being chased, like he's climbing, and then he blends in with the wall.
Oh snap!
And the cape kind of turns him into a. Yeah, like, yeah, we get our first great line when he's like, when his hands
Like,
turn into suction cup
is that a
tentacle
comic book
hands.
thing? I thought that was kind of weird. It
No,
didn't.
no, the suit doesn't really do that in the books at all.
That seemed out of place.
And really, his mask is something. It's an actual mask. Like I'm pretty sure he just takes it on and puts it off. Like it's not a
I like the
living
like kind of
suit.
like living mask thing. I thought that was cool.
I thought it was interesting too. The hands kind of weird, but as climbing for the first time, he just goes like, "Oh snap!" Like
He says that
it's like not what you expect to hear.
he says holy shit. He says holy shit or something like that.
That is when we get the
Yeah, the
oh
oh
holy
snap is
shit.
the story that I'll of my friend that went to the theaters when that wall thing happened.
Oh, that's right.
Like I didn't go when I didn't go to the theater. My friend, he went there, and like that scene where he blends in with the wall. Some random person in the theater goes, "Oh snap!" Like,
oh, it's great.
but
Oh, okay. We do get. I know that we're kind of going off here talking about hell,
okay.
but yeah, you're absolutely right. The hell scenes, there's way too many of them, and they focus on all the wrong things, like all the bad CGI. It should be more about Spawn's deal with the devil, right? Which is Malbosia says, if you will lead my armies at Armageddon and be like my, general of Hell's armies, then I will let you reunite with Wanda. You'll get to see Wanda again. And in his pain and torment, he says yes, because it's like it just happened. So he agrees to it. And then he gets dumped down to Earth, all scarred up and crazy looking. And then eventually his suit comes about. He does try to find Wanda and Terry. Well, just tries to find Wanda and sees that they're married and have a kid. But it's at her birthday party, at Cyan's birthday party, where John Leguizamo is the clown. And I would just like to say, in 15 seconds, we see that clown smoking a cigarette and drinking what looks like bourbon on the rocks during the kids' party, like all in 15 seconds. In 1 second, he's like, "Oh, you kids, come around!" And then in the next second, he's like, "Oh, where are you going?" Like it's like
There's no other
is anybody
parents there either. It feels like, are they just kids, right?
It's weird, yeah. It's just the two parents.
And the
just
two
Terry
parents are
and,
too worried about
Wanda
flirting with each other the whole time. Like I don't.
grabbing ass.
But
Oh.
that's it's funny because he keeps calling him Crispy when the clown eventually finds Al, and then Spaz obviously he knows it's him. Like he's the only one that registers. Al, kind of touches my heart a little bit, but not really.
Yep.
But
Knows.
but the one thing at the end, it's like the clown takes. They're like, get that guy out of here. Like, why is your friend here? Like, they all like act weird, and then the Wanda's like, I knows my name. But the thing he gives her this like doll, this ugly looking clown doll, and they don't even say anything about it.
Yeah. Is it like a? No, I assumed that it was like a tracking device type of thing. Like, but nothing ever comes of it. It's just like, yes, this awful doll is given to the daughter. Right after that, John Leguizamo, the clown, takes him to the graveyard, basically to prove, like you don't get it yet, dummy. Like you're dead. Shows him the worst tombstone I've ever seen. It's just like Al Simmons.
No date.
He died. Yeah, no dates. Not like beloved husband or anything. It's just like Al Simmons, dead CIA operative. I'm pretty sure is what it read, something like that. But then when he digs it up, it opens up and he's like looking at he's opening it up. The skeleton like attacks him, and I'm like, did his own skeleton just try to attack him? It was like something out of like Army of Darkness, like just like
know.
like random hand. And he like pulls it away, and I'm like, did he just attack himself? Unless they buried somebody else on top
He gets so
of him.
sentimental about his hat too. He's just like,
oh yeah, I know. He pulls out his dress hat, his Marine's hat. He's like, oh, this must be me. I can see the sweat stains. Like I know this hat. It's mine. But yeah, we get then all right, now we transition to Jason Wynn's master plan, You know, like
Before
Jason Nguyen.
before we get to his
Go ahead.
master plan, I think
Okay.
we just take a quick break
Sure.
and just kind of
There's
reset.
so much more plot to talk
I
about.
know. Let's just
Yes.
take a quick break, and we'll talk about the. We'll try to blitz. We've gone a little bit too in depth on hell a little bit. Like, let's just take a quick break, and then we'll finalize this terrible movie in just a moment.
Yes.
Okay, we're back, and we're going to try to go really fast to the end of this movie. But you were talking about his plan. His plan to blow up supposedly all these bombs across the world because he's going to rule the world, but that's going to start Armageddon for hell, right?
By affecting everybody with the disease.
And this is where we're kind of jumping ahead. So we have the whole we talked about this already. Like Spawn obviously gets his powers. He goes and tries to get revenge on Nguyen. Does a horrible job at that part. Like he tries to kill him. He kills Priest during that, just to kind of fly through this a little bit, right? So, and one thing I've noticed, I'm going to add to that fight, then I'm going to add to one extra thing about his plan really quick, is that Spawn doesn't know how to use his things yet. Like they're just kind of like accidentally used, right?
Yep. Everything is just by reflex or instinct. Yep.
So he gets a ton of weapons from, I think, the armory I think Nguyen has, right? And like when he's in the shoot, when he's with the suit with guns, like he's going around shooting, he just shoots like this. He just like aimlessly shoots at everything. Like he doesn't aim.
Everybody, this is like 90s shooting, dude. We saw it in The Shadow. Like just people just like blanket the area with bullets. I was gonna say,
but it looks so much different.
Scene,
go ahead.
Jessica Priest kills like half the party guests just trying to shoot him. She doesn't aim at him. She just goes, mo, mo, mo. But yes, everyone, they have terrible aim, all of them.
So Amber like committed to sitting in the room with me watching this. She really wasn't watching it with me, but she kind of was like sort of like forced to watch it with me like at the same time. And she's like, I don't know.
Can't look away.
She's like, she's just shaking her head the whole time. She's like, why is she wearing rhinestones? What are the rhinestones for?
Yes, they protect against bullets. Rhinestone bullet.
But like she is that stereotypical 90s like villainness. Like I'm thinking of like she like almost a carbon copy of the villain from GoldenEye. Like she looks like that Bond villainy, red lips, you know.
Xenia, right? Xenia?
On the top.
I think her name is? Yes.
On the top.
What's that? Oh. Yeah, so and one of my favorite moves in this movie is what you're talking about here. The way that they shoot, the way that they do any of these scenes. Spawn like does this flip with the guns and he's shooting while he's flipping, and I'm like, why are you like you can see like he starts shooting before he flips. He's shooting up and behind him, and then it's like I'm like, why shoot and flip? But then he does heal himself. We get to see the suit healing himself for the first time, right? And that's where we get a holy shit, right? Or no, I'm sorry, he gets a what is it? Yeah, does he get a holy shit for that?
I don't know.
I think, or he goes, no, he goes, damn.
Yeah.
Right, when he gets healed. That's it.
Though his little talking through fighting does not fit the rest of his Wanda vibe. Like he's so emo everywhere else, but when he's fighting, he's like, yeah.
There's a lot of bad ADR in this. A lot of audio recorded after the fact, like you're just like filling in gaps with recorded stuff later on.
Yep.
Anyway,
especially what's his name too? His,
Jason Nguyen.
Calgiesto. I never say his name right. His like I wanted to like let's take a minute because we don't have a lot of time. His old character arc. That character Cagliostro. Can never say his name right. Like the actor who they pick for him, like does not fit what I want him to be or he should be. I've seen drawings of him. it just doesn't look right at all. His whole like demeanor, his whole get up. He looks like he has something wrong. Like he's always looks like he's just like stiff the entire time. Like his shoulders.
Yeah, like an alert.
And he has this weird really sort of like line delivery too. But like I'm watching this film, and as I'm watching it, I'm just remembering all the quotes from the trailer. And like there's a line like at the end of the movie where he's like, "Use your armor."
Oh yeah, he's like Henry VIII living in New York City now. I don't know. It's weird. It's very strange.
It's odd.
He doesn't fit in, though, as you saw, like he does. He doesn't fit.
Slow down. I'm losing you again. I'm losing you.
So Jason. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. It's all good.
Sorry.
It's all
hey,
good.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, I hear you.
So,
here, pop out of Discord. Pop out of Discord and come back in.
Oh, I think here I am.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay.
So I just wanted to say I know that we're going to keep going with the story here, but in terms of the special effects, the Violator, Clown turning into the Violator, and the Violator, for the most part, I will give like an A- to.
Yeah, that's great.
I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
And the fights are not good because all he can do with their CGI is like pick up Al Simmons and throw him against stuff. That's all he does.
Yep.
But I liked it that they like the design of him was cool. It looked like the Violator and felt like the Violator too. I thought it was good.
Yeah.
I'm glad that like Spawn loses the first time when he fights.
Again, like I feel like
they
used him too much though. Like I feel like the Violator, like they used the fight just to like I hit prove a point, and then he comes back at the end. They fight him again. It's like save that for the end. Like why are we fighting the Violator like in the middle of the movie? Don't overuse the special effects a little bit. I don't know. That's what I thought.
Sure. Because they reuse it, man. They reuse it. There are a lot of scenes, just like little cutaway scenes of the Violator's face, just reused over and over again. It's like, oh god, yeah, like I saw that already. But okay, so story-wise, okay, so this is what I'm still kind of confused about the plot of the movie. Jason Nguyen, his goal is to rule the Earth. He's going to hold everybody hostage because he's going to release this virus and only he has the vaccine. Okay, so everybody's going to join his consortium, is what they keep calling it. His whatever, his collective. But that's his goal.
Yeah, makes sense.
From Hell's perspective, though, they're just using him to get like the Earth ready for Armageddon and to get Al Simmons.
Yeah.
So they're kind of like using each other. Both are trying to get over like one over on the other. Which is fine.
Well, because they want the virus to go off. They want the explosion to happen, which is going to kill so many people, which gives them an edge on the chaos that's going to ensue with Armageddon.
Yes, does that mean more soldiers for Hell's army? I guess I'm not completely sure.
I just think because Armageddon's the end of the world. If they can kill half the population without having to do all the work, I guess that gives them a step in the right direction. I don't know. I mean, they didn't really explain what Armageddon thing is. It's just a battle of heaven and hell. That's all I know. We don't really.
It's supposed to be the final battle, and this is what they think will give Hell the advantage, I guess. But for Jason Nguyen, he decides, or they convince him, and he's all for it, to get this little device connected to his heart that if his heart stops, it will automatically release the virus across the world.
It's a good idea, as Martin Sheen says.
Yes, and he's like, I like that idea. It's a good idea. Whatever. It's like, damn, Martin Sheen, I can hear you cashing the check. Okay, I get it.
Yeah, he seems like he has like a frog in his throat the whole entire movie. Like he has this like some weird rough
voice. Yes, he's a bad guy. Because I bet Martin Sheen in real life is a delightful old man. And he's like, this is what an evil guy sounds like. But he does get that heart monitor thing installed. And I just wanted to say, I'm pretty sure that he gets anesthesia,
Oh,
the
say
heart
say
surgery.
say it again. Say it again, Paul.
What's this?
Say,
Like
say,
they're doing it. I think he gets anesthesia, heart surgery. You know what I mean?
I'm losing it still. Again, I'm sorry. So we're waiting for Paul to fix his internet. It's the downside of now doing this podcast with, many miles between each other. I think he was talking about Jason Nguyen having open heart surgery to put this thing in. I think that's what he was talking about. You back?
Oh, I'm back. Yes, I was just saying, thank you for filling in for me. Pretty sure that Jason Nguyen gets anesthesia after the heart surgery because they're
Oh,
showing it to him. They're like, "Look, like, what do you think, Director Nguyen? Like, this will now nobody will stand against you." He's like, "Good, very good." And then they give him like something over him, and he's like, I'm like, did they give him the pain, like the anesthesia stuff after they cut into him?
yeah, because I think
Anyways,
that's
because I'm pretty
one of
sure
the
it's
weird
usually the other way
transitions
around.
too. Like when they make a cut to him or something, he goes and he like transitions away.
So yeah. Violator, like I said, does look better than Malboja, but yeah, let's shoot on to the ending here because
Can I
we
explain
do
this
get,
ending? Can I explain this ending? Just really quick.
please, by all means, Justin,
Let me
I
just
would
take
love
over
to.
for you.
Please.
You just listen in for a minute. So this ending, like obviously Spawn is like failing at revenge, and all of a sudden he's like, I suck at fighting Violator. He's kind of hurt really bad and hate on the cross, and what's his name is like, I think the homeless guy, like the kid. That's because there's a kid. We never mentioned the
Yes,
kid, right? His dad
the
dies.
kid, so
Okay.
bad. The kid, I feel so bad. His dad dies, and then Spawn tells him, "Go find my dog." Yes,
He did try to help
by
the kid
any
earlier.
means
He
necessary.
did try to help the kid earlier. I guess. Anyways, it's like he all of a sudden learns that he can get trained by what's his name, the old dude. They do make because they do try to cast him sort of like an Obi-Wan character. He kind of has that vibe a little bit.
Trying.
I did like the comment of like okay thanks Yoda. They make a little Star Wars reference.
Yes.
But anyway, like he gets trained in like 5 seconds how to like control his power. Just think really hard, and
Yes. Just concentrate.
and then the whole like just like so they're all going to Wanda's house. I don't know why this has like become the central point of everything. Like this suddenly has
Well,
become like the central point of everything because
for some reason, the like clown and hell needs Spawn to kill Jason Nguyen. Like, for
yeah,
if he does that, if he gets his revenge, then for some reason he'll fight for them. Like that'll
well
be the last
he's choosing
straw of his
revenge and
soul.
he'll fall deeper into he'll commit to being their leader.
I don't follow the logic of that, but you know what? It's hell. They don't always make the best decisions.
It's the same story as going to the dark side, I guess. You get your revenge, you go to the dark side, and you're absorbed into the
It
best
doesn't
I
seem as
got.
permanent in this one. He got revenge on Jessica Priest.
Sure.
But
He
then,
was defending
yeah.
himself.
Okay,
But
I gotta
no.
just time out you.
What?
I
Go
gotta
ahead.
time out you really quick, just because you've been talking about Martin Sheen's acting in this. My favorite scene in this movie by far is when he busts through the ceiling, Spawn comes down with the cape and everything into the party,
Yeah.
and you just see, if you watch that scene again, watch Martin Sheen because he's looking straight up and Spawn has already landed, and then he goes, and it's like, this is way before all the green screen coaching and like modeling and like what to
Sure.
expect, tennis balls or anything. They're just like, look up, now look down,
Yeah.
and it's way after he's landed. I
So
just I just had to share that.
again, visually,
But please
the
go
shot
on.
of the cape's pretty cool. It's pretty neat.
Mhm.
But no, like the thing that I think is hilarious for this because it's like all of a sudden it becomes like it just rushes to the end of this movie. Like we have
Yep.
like him like learning how to be Spawn all of a sudden, and then like
Really
let me
quick.
just ride this motorcycle I steal over to Wanda's house because that's where I'm supposed to go. I don't know why he knows this. Why he think maybe the clown threatened him or something. I don't remember.
He said like he's going for Wanda. Nguyen said he's like, well, I'm gonna go. Martin Sheen in his bad guy voice. I'm gonna go be a home invader now. Yep.
No, but I don't think he knows that Nguyen's there. Like he just goes to Wanda's house. Like I don't think he even knows. I think the clown is. I don't even know how does he know he has to go to Wanda's house. When did that happen?
Maybe the clown told him. I don't know.
But like he's just riding his motorcycle there, and all of a sudden the clown shows up again in a truck and just starts attacking him.
Yep.
Randomly, and whatever, he gets a cool little cape shield thing on his motorcycle. It's kind of neat.
He's using his powers, Justin.
Right, he knows how to do it. And then I laugh because we talk about this whole entire, like, to cap this off, like so the whole thing is that we all end up Wanda's house because Terry has the data. Nguyen's just there, I think, just to get Wanda, and just like stumbles on Terry like having a web conference call in 1997. He's like
using his touchscreen CRT monitor. That was great.
The internet.
And he got the disc of top secret stuff that somebody used their Label Maker Pro to put top secret on.
Yes, special ops.
Special ops.
But wait,
it's so label
this
maker.
Is the
written on the CD.
But the best part about this is the desks that they use. They have CD-ROMs in the desk.
I love that. Yes, I was like, why don't I have a computer built into my desk that just pops out of the desk? Well, you drop the disc. That's the future, man. Desk computers. That's what they meant by desktop. Oh my gosh.
But like, so our final battle happens in a living room. So I feel like this whole thing, all this time we spent with Hell and all this stuff, they're like, well, we ran out of money. Let's just do it in my house. We'll just do the final battle in my house.
They do a Hell scene though. They, in case you didn't know, Justin, you could just jump into any fireplace and go straight to Hell. So they follow. They like go. What is it? Him and Cagliostro go down to Hell, and Cagliostro's fighting the Violator and losing, but Spawn just like all the armies of Hell are all around him, and he just goes and green shoots out of them and kills some of them.
He's his Spawn lasers. I don't understand what that is.
Those are the same eye lasers he did to do surgery on Jason Nguyen and remove the heart device off of him. He just stares at him with his lasers. That's pretty good. Pretty good surgery. Laser surgery by Spawn.
I love when Cagliostro shows up randomly too, like at the house. He does his sword. He goes, Grr! He does this like growl thing.
Yes. Yes. It shows off his sword hand. It's not a sword he's holding. His hand is a sword.
It turns into a sword.
Let me do for you really quickly what it's like for Cagliostro to show up on a scene. This is how he enters like every scene. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
That's it. He always just like slides into frame.
For our audio listeners, he just like shoved his face from one frame of the very stoic.
Slides into frame randomly.
But like, yeah, like the ending battle is like them trying to I guess corrupt using like Terry, who, wait a minute, like they have like the girl tied up, the little girl Cyan, who has just like paper in her mouth, but Terry has a dominatrix ball in his mouth. I don't understand.
Where's the rubber ball? Where did that come from? He's like, it's like, well, if it was the clown tying him up, then that makes sense.
They found it. They found it in Wanda and Terry's bedroom.
The last laugh there.
Like, I feel like we missed so many plot lines in this movie. Like, I feel like we haven't even talked about John Leguizamo at all. Like, he is,
because he's not, he's actually not that terrible. Like, I remember thinking he was the worst, like in this movie. Just like, I couldn't stand him.
He's cringy, but he's meant to be that, right? He says some really kind of like rough, crude things. Like, it almost like. And a lot of that stuff for your initial viewing would have been cut out, because that's a lot of the things that they had to remove with some of his dialogue, because that's what made this movie rated R. Like him referencing like sexual things, like I think he makes a comment. It's like we've been breeding you since you were in your mother's soup. Like it's like those kind of like phrases. Like it's just like they're like they're rough, but like John Leguizamo, really honestly, he I think he understood what was needed for this movie. Like I read some comments about like actors like opinions, like Michael what's this Michael J White Jai Michael Jai
Jai
he
White. Okay.
hates this movie. Like he said, it's a horrible movie. Hates it. John Leguizamo was like, it should have been more violent. It should have been more. It should have been more R rated. It needed to be that to represent the comics more. Like clown is like from my understanding is a horrible thing,
Yes.
and he's
Disgusting.
meant to be
Terrible.
disgusting and terrible. Like, but like I have to say, like some of the effects with clown was like weird. Like he eats the pizza with the maggots that are moving around. Like it's like
Oh,
it's a really
oh.
cool shot. Like it's like they don't cut.
Yeah, I was watching too. I'm like, when are they going to cut it? When are they going to cut it? And it looks like he actually really puts that in his mouth. And
Yeah,
it looks
I
like,
can't remember what
and
they
there's like
did.
the
They
worm scene, dipping them into mayo and then
yeah
dropping them in. It's like,
yeah
there is a cut, so it could have been changed. But that
they
maggots one on the pizza, I thought that was legit.
there is a commentary on that. Like I remember them talking about how they did that scene. But again, I've watched this like 20 years ago. I remember like it was kind of neat how they did it. They like I really appreciate like it's disgusting, but it's like they really kind of like did a lot with him. Like
Yeah,
the
they
costume
tried.
was
They
great. Like
tried with what they had.
yeah, like his CGI was weird. I love the ending. Like so they got the ending right, and they fight, and I love how it's like he brings in a magical like tied up Wanda on this like golden apparatus thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Weird thing that she's tied to. Yep.
And
Yep.
it really isn't Wanda though, because it ends up being. I like that part where it's like
Well,
you.
you were supposed to kill him and you couldn't. Why? Like, yeah, she's just like talking in the clown's voice because it's her. And then,
Oh,
yeah, he turns into Violator, and then we have our final fight.
yep. And then like they cut his head off the Violator in the room, like in after the fight in hell, and him like laser beaming all the spawns or whatever. I mean, whatever they are, the army.
Hello, spawns.
And like he gets his head off, and he's on John Leguizamo's head's on the ground, and he's just like moving around with his tongue, just flopping
Yes.
around. He's like, "Hey
Yep.
Wanda, you want a little head?" I'm like, Jesus, like you had to get one more
Like,
in there,
even
didn't you?
now. Yeah, one more terrible pun in there. Uh, God, he reminded me in that moment too of like the Black Knight from Monty Python. Like, I'll bite your ankles. And I think he says, I'll bite your ankles. Pretty sure.
Yeah.
Uh, but at the end when they're by the way, Martin Sheen just does not convince me as a home invader with his like sticking them up. Like he's just
With
this
like,
jolly old man.
it's not even a
Instead
gun.
of
He's got like a
totally,
gigantic, like futuristic weapon. I don't know what
yeah,
that is.
he's like, come on, you go this way, you go this way. Like he's just not a villain in that way. But I don't know. There were some cool things at the end. I don't know if you noticed, but the two detectives, I think, taking Jason Wynn out at the very end, after Violator's dead and the police are there. They take Jason Wynn out, and the two detectives are Twitch and Burke,
Yep, I did remember
the
that.
two that
I
are
did.
like kind of work with Spawn, but are also kind of like trying to
I
apprehend him or
remember
stop
that
him.
from the commentary. Um,
Mhm.
you just reminded me. I didn't remember it when I watched it, but the
I
recently.
was like,
But
why weren't they in the movie? I'm like, they would have been good in the movie.
wasn't there like a because obviously they have the remake or reboot coming out because there was a sequel planned, but then it turned into like this reboot, and we got Jamie Foxx supposed to be in it or something like that. But it's been in
Supposedly.
development hell. But there was like I remember like this whole plan to make a movie about Spawn, but it was gonna focus only on the Twitch and Burke. Like it was gonna be like their perspective of
You're
it
right.
or
I
something.
remember that. That was a long time ago. That was like mid 2000s or
Yeah.
something. They were gonna do it from their perspective and make it more of the detectives like trying to figure out who this guy was and how he was fighting crime and why
Mhm.
what was his motive. That would have been interesting, but again, who would that movie be made for? It's like real Spawn fans, like I
Yeah.
guess. But yeah, as we're wrapping up here, I just I forget who it was. Definitely had a cross up his butt at the end there. Do you remember? who like dropped down. Can't remember who it was. I'm looking at my notes here and I'm trying to figure out what I meant by it. Definitely has a cross up his butt. Oh, Spawn when he's crouching at the very end and like his cape is all around him. And the rats are climbing up, you know, the
Oh,
Spawn and Ratatouille crossover at the very end.
yeah.
My last thing I just got to tell you about this movie was I actually watched the credits and I listened to the whole Marilyn Manson song, which was made for this movie, "Long Hard Road Out of Hell." One of the digital effect artists' name is his name is Mitch Diodes, but in between his name it was in quotation marks Mitch Baron von Splooge Diodes. So I think Baron von Splooge must have been the guy who did the sploogey gun effect.
Okay,
On
that was his
Great
job.
Splooge. He was
His
the on Splooge. So, Justin, what do you think?
What do I think?
Who ran this movie?
Ask that question again. I'm sorry. What was you say?
I said, what do you think? Do you recommend this movie?
No, I don't. I'm sorry. Like I would have said, "Oh, that was a great movie. I loved it. I love watching this movie." No, this movie, just the thing. This was one of those like I've told you this story before, and I know we mentioned the show, but I had a DVD player way early in my life. You know, before everyone else pretty much had one. And I would go to Walmart and there'd be like that small what?
Yeah, Mr. Brags a lot. So go on. Yeah, you were at Walmart.
They would have the very small section of DVDs, right? You didn't have a big kind of like menu, I guess, to pick from. I pretty much bought all of those. It was like Austin Powers, Wag the Dog, Fifth Element was in there.
Yes.
And Spawn was one of these DVDs that was in that small selection. And so that's why I think I was all like, I loved it so much because it was a DVD. It was like one of the better effects ones at the time. But this, obviously, we know it's not good now. But oh my god, like the health.
You had it though. Yes.
I wonder if this could have been, probably not. But I wonder if like the hell scenes were at least better visuals, if it would be as horrible of an experience. It would still be a bad movie, but not. I don't know. We'll never.
Trying to say. What do you? No, I don't understand what you're trying to say.
Well, I mean, like, I think it's not like it's a great movie. It's bad. I mean, I get that. Like, it's the storyline. I think is fine. I don't think it's that confusing. John Leguizamo is a good, decent enough character. We liked some of the fights and combat and stuff, like Violator and all that stuff. Spawn looked pretty cool, but like, I think really when rewatching it for me, those hell scenes really ruin the experience horribly. Like it's like that final fight looks horrific in that. If they had their final fight in like the chapel, like the first Violator fight, that would have been a better experience, I think. Like, you know what I mean? Like maybe would have capped off nicer.
You didn't like the ending in Wanda's house.
No. It just seems so. It seems so weird. It's like I don't know, like. But I mean, there's so many things. I mean, that's just saying. Like, there was. I think it could have been a great movie. I mean, it's definitely there. You can't just fix a couple things. You have to fix so many things. But I don't know. I really don't know anymore. I can't recommend this movie to anybody. I remember getting some comments from people saying like, "Oh, I love this movie. This movie's amazing," and I'm like, "You're right." And then I watched it, and I'm like, no, we were never right. Why were we right about this?
No, you were just excited. You were just excited at the time. It was fun for everyone.
I wasn't even a Spawn fan. I feel like the only thing I knew about Spawn was I saw a video game once in a Sears. Like, I mean, like I knew he was a cool comic book character, but I really didn't know anything about him.
Yeah,
I was just excited to see a cool blockbuster film. You know.
Oh, he always was an interesting character to me. I like that his superpowers were, like, limited, like if he used up his magic, his necroplasm, whatever, like he would die. Like he had a finite amount.
They do an off comment on that in this film too.
Yep,
it's a very like brief comment.
Better than nothing, I guess. But if you were to ask me, Justin, if I recommend this movie or not, I would say flush it down the toilet and let's never speak of it again. Um, we both were kind of looking forward to this, thinking like this will
Oh.
be kind of like a fun October movie, Halloween theme, and it is nothing like that. It is all the worst things about 90s movies and a superhero movie and also bad CGI. It's like a perfect storm of all the things we dislike.
Yep. But
Um,
I think this
but yeah.
is the right time to make a new Spawn. That's
Yes.
something I could say.
Yes, for sure. For sure. You could make a good Spawn movie
Especially
now.
with
And I think Jamie Foxx would be fun. I love Jamie Foxx. I would love to see him do that.
yeah. I
I
mean,
hope I hope it gets out of hell, development hell with Malbosia down there, talking without his mouth moving at all.
oh my god, you could see like the wireframe of the polygon. Like you could still
I am Malbosia.
Oh god. Anyways, well, we're done.
Well,
We're done with this horrible
yes, we're
horrible
done.
movie.
I will never watch Spawn again. This is going into the episode 2 pile of movies. I
And we
will
spent
never.
money on this one too. At least I
I know.
did.
I hope Todd McFarlane got a few cents from that. Well, maybe it'll help him make a better Spawn movie. But all right, Justin, I think this is a good point to wrap it up. Why don't you tell the people at home what we do every Tuesday and Thursday?
Sure. I mean, again, if you like what you had to see, first off, let us know what you think of Spawn in the comments on our YouTube channel, or go out to our
Please.
Twitter channel and tell us how much you love the movie and how crazy we are. I mean, and then we'll just say that you're crazy back, I guess, because we don't. I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're
But
crazy.
go
You
to
are the one
our
who-
go to our YouTube channel. You watch our podcast. We also stream this every Thursday night for reviews. Like I said, we're doing a theme of 90 movies right now. But they'll all be on our podcast and YouTube channel. I mean, also are streaming some games on Tuesday nights. Right now, we're doing God of War.
It's been very fun.
You can also check out that way better movie experience for a video game. So,
Oh yeah,
but yeah, just like, subscribe, comment, go to our YouTube channel, go to our Twitter channel, and hopefully you keep enjoying the stuff that we make.
absolutely. All right, Justin. This has been Playing Favorites. As always, oh, it's just a pleasure to go through, rummage through garbage with you, my friend. I'm Paul.
And I am Justin. Holy shit!
Damn.
Have a good
Have a
night.
good one.